Story 1. Update: Am I the a-hole for not telling my roommate I own the house? Original post: brief backstory. About a year ago, my last remaining grandparent passed away and my father inherited all assets, including a house. I had been saving for a nice down payment of at least 50% so I could have a lower mortgage payment each month, thus allowing me to save money for travel. When my father inherited this house, which he had no interest in moving into yet, he offered to sell it to me for slightly below the market rate, with the caveat that he and my stepmother could eventually move into the basement apartment. I agreed because they're both incredible people who are not at all invasive and would give me my privacy if they live there. So I paid a 60% down payment, financed the rest, and moved in. Present day. About 6 months ago, I started considering renting out the finished basement apartment. It has 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a living room, and a small kitchenette, sink, fridge, microwave, but no oven. A friend of mine said his brother was moving to my city and needed his place to live. He's a brand new teacher and doesn't make great money, so he needed a place that wasn't expensive. I offered to let him rent my basement for way less than the market rate, which was $650, which would include utilities. He readily accepted and signed a year-long lease. Well, a few days ago he asked me if he could start paying the landlord directly instead of giving me rent money each month. I was under the impression my friend had told him I own the house, so I was confused and I told him we don't have a landlord and that I am the owner. He got very upset and screamed at me for lying for over 6 months and taking advantage of him by making him pay so much in rent. For the record, an apartment similar to the one in my house would be well over twice what he's paying me, closer to 3 times for something as nice. He asked how much of my mortgage he's covering, and I said, why does that matter? You're getting a nice, quiet place to live. Access to a full kitchen and laundry room, and you're paying an amount that you can afford. My personal finances aren't really a factor here. He stormed out of the room and slammed the basement door. He's still not speaking to me. I asked a few other friends and some family members, and most said that I'm wrong for having him cover my mortgage payments. Only a few said that I'm in the right. So am I the a-hole for having my roommate cover $650 of my $775 month mortgage? AITA. He has a lease, so I won't be evicting him over this alone. If he does any damage or becomes hostile, I'll look at the eviction process, but for now, he will remain unless he chooses to break the lease, which I would allow him to do if he wants. He also didn't bother to read the lease before signing. The lease clearly states, I'm the homeowner. I didn't trick him or keep information from him. He simply didn't read what he was signing. I didn't get the house for almost free, as some people choose to believe. My father sold it to me for about 75% of its value, more or less as an advance on rent he and my stepmother will pay when they move in here in a few years. We already agreed they won't pay monthly rent, but will contribute to utilities and groceries at that time. I also made a 60% down payment, so I have quite a bit that's invested, as well as paying about $1,500 a month out of pocket for taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities, etc. Now for the comments before reading the update. OMG, are they freaking serious? What do people think when they rent? They cover the landlord's mortgage payment. You are definitely not the a-hole, and quite honestly do not renew the lease with this person. How entitled can one person be? I rented an Airbnb for a few months when I was new to the area. More precisely, I rented a bedroom. Yes, I had access to the kitchen, shared bathroom with whoever else were guests, shared laundry room and pool, but still bedroom. For more than you're charging for a finished basement apartment, it sounds like your renter is going to get sticker shock when he moves out. Tell everyone who thinks you're ripping the guy off to check the market rate for the area, then go kick rocks. Were you supposed to let him stay for free again? Not the a-hole, but I think I'd start looking for smarter friends. OP says I'm only friends with his brother, and he thinks he's an absolute moron for being mad over cheap rent. He came over here yesterday and basically told his brother what an idiot he is, which made me laugh since I could hear him from upstairs. This person says, not the a-hole, the question isn't the mortgage, it's fair market rate for what he's getting. I get the shock he's feeling, but he's not entitled to free housing just because you're friends. Goodness, I hate defending a landlord. Makes me feel dirty. This person says, not the a-hole, asks them what their problem is. You were planning on renting it out. You found someone to rent it to, and you gave a lowered rent because it was through a friend. The renting was always going to happen, so why not to an acquaintance at a lowered rent as opposed to a stranger for a market rate? Where is the difference in this other than they get a deal? I'm not allowed to rent it out because I own it? What are you trying to say here? Frankly, it sounds like they're just salty you gave and had the option, and they don't. So it's better to villainize you as a greedy landlord instead of just a poor tenant. Conversely, you can also invite this person to go look at rental rates in the surrounding area and come back to you when he finds anything lower than what you're offering. Now for the updates. Update 1. I intended to speak with him over the weekend, but he never returned my text asking when a good time to discuss things would be. So Sunday afternoon I sent a text stating I would be entering the basement at 6 p.m. Monday evening. He never replied. When I went into the basement, some of his belongings were there, but some weren't. Bed was there, but no dresser or side tables, and the second bedroom he was using as an office has nothing but boxes. The kitchenette was disgusting. The carpets were filthy, the walls had dents and divots in them, and the paint. I left him a note stating he needs to do some repairs and clean the kitchenette so as not to attract vermin. Then I went back upstairs. Well, he came back in today early this morning and was fuming at me for entering the basement without permission. I told him I had given him more than 24 hours notice per the lease via text message before entering his area. His reply was that he didn't get that because he blocked my number. So somehow it's still my fault for not informing him that I would be down there. I asked him if he intends to stay out the lease or if he wants to break it. He said that he's leaving and will live in his car until he finds a new place. I told him that's fine and that if he has all of his belongings out by the end of the month, I won't make him pay September and half of October's rent as the lease requires, and I'll refund the days he isn't there. He tried to tell me he doesn't need to pay that rent because he has 45 days to vacate, and that's only the notice period if he intends to leave. The lease still requires rent for those 45 days, so he's mad about that. I told him I'm being kind by letting him out nearly with zero financial repercussions. He was also told he's required to leave the apartment as clean as it was when he moved in, which was spotless since I had it done professionally prior to his lease beginning, or he would not get his deposit back. He's throwing a tantrum about that too. He seems to be working on clearing the rest of the stuff out now. I told him when he's done, send me notice in writing, text, or email, and I'll send him a refund for the days in August he isn't occupying the apartment. I have indoor Ring cameras that I turned off when he moved in, but I've turned them back on until he's gone. I don't trust that he won't do more damage. Right now I've locked myself in my office on the second story since he's really mad and throwing things around the basement and main kitchen. His brother and sister-in-law are also coming over in the next hour or so because I don't feel entirely safe being alone in the house with him. As soon as he gives me notice that he's completely vacated the apartment, I'll be changing and deleting all the passwords and codes for the deadbolts, alarm system, internet, etc. So he can't access anything at all. I'm ready to be done with him and to feel safe in my own home again. Thanks to all who read the original post on Am I the A-hole? I'll post any additional updates here on my profile, though I hope this is the end of it. Last update, the former tenant begged to come back, but I declined. Actually, I offered him the apartment for over the market value. MV is about $2,500, and I told him he could come back for $3,300 to make him go away. He also declined my offer. No idea where he ended up. But after some of the names he called me after I wouldn't let him back in, I don't care. I'm still good friends with his brother. He is a good guy who laughed when I told him about my offer of $3,300 a month. I didn't ask where the former tenant landed. I'm sure he has several roommates, but again, I don't really care. I will not be renting it out again anytime soon. I had to do some repairs, so I'm hesitant to let anyone else in. I may let my cousin's daughter move in next year, but I know her and I know she's respectful of people's property. Unless my parents move in before then, but definitely no more renting to strangers. Story 2. Update: I, 25 male, won 2 tickets to the Super Bowl. My girlfriend, 25 female, is very upset that I'm taking my brother, 31 male, and not her. Original post: a couple of days ago, I won a trivia contest that gave me an all-expense-paid trip for 2 to the Super Bowl. As you can imagine, I was so excited. And it's gotten to the point where I wish there was a way that I could sell the package and forget about it. My brother and I were together and decided to try for the tickets from his local contest. I was the official contestant, but I actually ended up getting the answer I needed from my brother. From that point, I never even thought about who to take, since it was something we both did, and he ended up actually giving me the answer of course he was going to go. I excitedly told my girlfriend, who didn't even know that I was trying, that I won the tickets and I was going with my brother. She then got very upset that I'm not taking her. For the record, she is a football fan, so it's clear that she would love to go. But my brother gave me the answer. How could he not go? My brother said he would understand if I take her and sees the problem that this is going to cause me, and offered his ticket to her. I didn't even tell her that he made this offer because I don't think. That's the point. I think she's being selfish and putting a damper on the entire experience. I told her all about this, but she's not backing down and said that if you win a trip for 2 it should automatically go to your significant other. Maybe that's true if it were a romantic getaway or a cruise, but this is something my brother and I did together, and he's the reason why I won. I think she is being selfish, and she thinks I am being inconsiderate of her. I don't know who is right or what to do. I wish I never won these tickets because no matter what happens, the entire experience has been marred. I thought of giving the tickets to my brother and his wife and just forgetting about the whole thing, but because I won the tickets under my name, it has to be me. How should I handle this? Now for the update. Update: thanks everyone for the advice, it was very helpful. This was very stressful and a long few days. I'm just glad that there seems to be a resolution. I had to try to talk to my girlfriend, and she was still clearly upset. I approached the conversation as many people said, keeping an understanding that she was more disappointed than controlling and would come around. Unfortunately, she was being unreasonable. She said I could go, but that doing so would hurt her a great deal, and that she would need some time to reevaluate things. I should have just ended things with her right there, but I was so sick of these tickets by this point that I didn't even have the heart to go even if I did decide to end things with her. As suggested by some of the comments here, I called up the radio station and asked if it was at all possible to transfer the tickets to my brother so he could go with his wife. They were totally understanding and awesome about it and said that they were sorry I couldn't go, but they were glad to put the tickets in my brother's name for me. I was just glad to have it behind me at that point. I told my girlfriend what I did and that I was staying here, and she said that I was being dramatic and immature. She said that I transferred the tickets to my brother just so I could win the argument and look like a martyr. At this point, I reached my breaking point. I calmly told her this relationship was over. I wasn't even mad at this point, just confused that a person I thought that I knew could act this way. She said that she was going to break up with me because of the way that I handled this anyway, so breaking up with her didn't matter. My brother immediately told me I dodged a bullet and glad that she was out of everyone's lives. My brother's wife was totally cool about me using her ticket and didn't even question it even after I'm technically taking back my gift to her. They insisted that I go with my brother and it was their idea. So now I'm the guest of my original tickets that I won. Happy to say that I arrived in San Francisco a few days ago and I'm having the time of my life. My girlfriend didn't even unfollow me on social media, and I'm posting as many pictures as I possibly can. Thanks to everyone. Story 3. My family wouldn't let me attend my siblings' wedding, so now I will cut contact with them, plus update. Original post: I think it would be easy to mention that I was never the family's favorite. I know there is a stereotype that the youngest sibling gets the most affection from the parents. Maybe it only applies to my family, but that's a complete lie. And I also know why my family treats me like that. They make no secret of it. I wasn't a wanted child for the simple reason that my parents only wanted a boy and a girl. So 2 children and no more. The fact that I was then born as a second son didn't fit into the family's predetermined picture. For this reason, I was always ignored at birthdays. I wasn't even allowed to be in family photos because they wanted to give the impression that their picture book family was the way that they had imagined it. They never let go of this image, and just as an aside, compared to my siblings, my parents punished me more severely for little things. My sister once stole money and was grounded for a week while I was beaten up for leaving my room at night. I put up with it over the years because even though my parents didn't really pay attention to me, I always had a good relationship with my siblings. When my eldest brother got married a few years ago, I was still a minor, and even though I was offended, I wasn't allowed to attend the wedding on the grounds that it would be a child-free wedding. I was 15 at the time, and no doubt there would have been no reason not to let me attend. Even though I was hurt that I was the only one not allowed to attend, I accepted it. I'm now 19 and my sister wants to get married. She gave birth to a daughter last fall, and she and her partner wanted to get married. I was really looking forward to the wedding and bought myself a nice suit. At some point, however, I received a message from my sister that I couldn't come to the wedding because they also wanted to have a child-free wedding and they needed someone to look after their daughter, my niece. I knew that wasn't true as they had a babysitter, since babysitter was a friend of hers who wanted to earn some extra money while she studied. When I pointed this out to her, she explained that the babysitter didn't have time because she had to study, which was also a lie, by the way, as I had previously sent the babysitter a friend request on Facebook, and she even wrote a post on the day of the wedding saying that she was enjoying her day off. I asked her if she had anyone else who could look after the child, as I really wanted to be there after missing my brother's wedding. Suddenly, she got angry and told me that I was being selfish, and that if I was a good brother I would say yes without argument, and if I didn't say yes I wouldn't be allowed to come to the wedding under any circumstances. It felt like a punch in the stomach. I couldn't understand why she didn't want me at the wedding. In the end, I agreed, but still contacted my parents again. They also told me not to be so selfish, as the day wasn't about me and my sister was deciding the guest list anyway. Then I also realized for the first time that my attendance was never planned from the beginning because I was the only one who didn't get an invitation. Yesterday was the wedding and I cried when I saw all the photos posted in the WhatsApp family group. Everyone had a great time. Even when my sister dropped her daughter off at my place and wanted to give her my wedding present, she didn't even give me a glance. She didn't even say thank you. Neither for the present nor for babysitting. I want out of this family. I love them, but I can't stand being treated like this any longer. I'm about to be promoted at my home office job, and when that happens I'm going to move far away and break off contact. They'll have the image of their perfect family back that I ruined, and I'll have my peace. A win-win situation for both sides. Now for the update. I didn't plan to make an update, but so many people asked, so here we are. My original post is now 3 days old and a few things happened in that time span. Let's start by saying that I followed your advice. I contacted the local police and told them about the situation just in case anyone was looking for me. One day after I posted it, I packed my things and drove to a friend of mine who lives far away. I haven't seen him in a while, but he agreed to let me stay with him until I have an apartment. And before you ask, I decided not to wait for my promotion. I wanted to get out of there immediately. That's when I started to read all of your comments. Thank you for your support, I appreciate it. Apparently my story made it to TikTok as well. But you probably want to know what's up with my family right now. Well, I blocked their numbers, and even though you guys told me not to leave a message, I left one, but not the way that you think. My family has a spare key for my apartment. I wrote this because I wanted to tell them everything I felt and let them know about their wrongdoings towards me. And to my surprise, my friend got a call from my mom yesterday. I don't know if she found the message or just noticed that I was gone like that, but I assume that she did. She said that she was worrying about me and that she had called every one of my friends because she wanted to know where I was and if he knew where I am. He lied to her and told her he didn't know, and then she hung up. While some could see this as an effort, I know my mom better than anyone else. She is not worried about me. She is worried about her own image and how people would react if they saw how she failed as a parent. However, she was the only one who I know that tried to reach out so far. To be fair, I blocked their number, so I'm not saying it's entirely impossible that they tried, but still. My friend's mom had invited me for dinner this Sunday. His family has always been very welcoming towards me, and I'm just glad that I'm not alone. I would also be lying if I said this situation left me cold, because the truth is that I cried for most of the first 2 nights. I want to leave all this behind me and start a new life. Thank you for your support. If anything essential happens, I will try to update you. Edit. Because so many people are confused, I'm gonna mention this once. I reposted a story similar to mine to the Too Hot Takes subreddit 8 months ago. This story in particular, however, is not mine. Like I subreddit 8 months ago. This story in particular, however, is not mine. Like I said, it's just a repost.